A recent report from Elections Canada has reminded us that young Canadians aren't voting nearly enough, and less of us choose Canadian news as a source of political information. Is it possible that the reason behind such low voter turnouts is because Canadian youth don't consume enough news media? We had to find out for ourselves, so we conducted an online survey of youth opinion to explore the relationship between media use and voting practices. First, we went out and asked various students to see what they had to say.
I think it depends on the medium of the media. I don't think if you're watching TV, not a lot of our demographic watches the news.
I think our generation too, probably we use the internet to get a lot of our news and information a lot more than the older generations.
If you're using the internet, yeah, you can see other sides of the issue and see the entire issue.
But I think the media through television makes a huge impact.
We could have a huge effect because we are a fair majority of the population, and without if we actually stood up and were like, hey, we're gonna vote.
I think a lot of people in our age group may be undereducated, in politics especially. I think a lot of what people learn in our age group is from their parents.
See, I think with the internet nowadays, it's just so easy to go and find that on our own, and that's probably what I would do instead of watching the 6 o'clock news religiously every night.
And you can do it in 5 minutes, whereas if you're waiting for the 6 o'clock news, they always have the the horror stories that come first to grab you in.
You have to hear about the 6 foots being found on the...
Exactly, no kidding.
Even on a day-to-day basis, even seeing things about an MP or whatever that went the extra mile to help somebody, or I don't know, maybe just more positive reinforcement from the media.
I'm Gregor Robertson. I'm the NDP candidate for Vancouver Fairview.
I think it would be important to have media to target that and at least give people an overview of what the parties mean.
Yeah, not only does it not involve us, but perhaps they're not representing us.
I think sometimes it's the issues that are portrayed too. I sometimes don't feel like a lot of the issues, for example, on the 6 o'clock news are aimed at our demographics, so it's hard to relate to those issues and really, I think, sometimes care either way.
The gas tax, for one, is different views. You're not going to get a good result out of any of them, but the different views have kind of been put forth.
I know for me, I think one of the major issues would be what's going on in Afghanistan, and I'd have to definitely educate myself more on where the different parties stand in terms of that. See, I follow American news more than I do Canadian, I hate to say it.
I do too.
I hate to say it, but I almost think it matters more to us as Canadians,
Yeah.
who's the American president versus
I'd agree, yeah.
So how am I, as one person, gonna go and change anything?
I think that discourages a lot of people when they think my vote doesn't count. It's just one.
Alright, let's get to the raw data. These views were confirmed through our online survey of 99 young adults between the ages of 22 and 32. Here's the list of media preferences for news. It looks like the internet is the most popular source of news for this group, and a majority of online users are regular voters. But what are they looking at online? The top 3 online news sites are TV stations. Number 1 is CBC, number 2 is BBC, and finally it's CNN. Also, based on our data, newspaper and radio users were the most regular voters. The most widely read newspapers are the Free Papers by a landslide. Then we've got the Vancouver Sun, followed by the Province. We had assumed that people who follow the news will vote, and some simple stats analysis proved us right. In fact, the people who followed the news were most likely to consider themselves to be informed. And since lack of information was the leading cause of low voter turnout, the news proved to be a key factor in leading young people to vote. So how do we know if youth will still vote in the next elections? After analyzing some more stats, we found that past voting could explain future voting. And since a key element for most voter information is the news, our best guess is that news media truly does encourage young people to vote. On that note, we should be aware of the media which surrounds us on a daily basis, and be critical and conscious of our attitudes towards media persuasion.